31 tiny texture updates Minecraft should add. Minecraft's textures have changed significantly over the years, but even with all that growing up, there's still some small things that the game could fix. So today, let's take a peek at the overlooked details that could use some polishing. And hey, the YouTube Sasquatch bets that you can't subscribe to the channel before I crash my Elytra. So to prove them wrong, land on that red sub button down below. It's free, and it helps out a ton. Number 1. Now, this tweak is an old favorite, but for good reason. Because if you've played with connected textures before, then you've realized just how clean these can look. And it makes sense too. After all, who would do their bookshelf like this when you could have something like this? And whether this is done with iron blocks, glass, or even planks entwined like so, some form of connected textures would be a game changer. Number 2. Redstone is great, but sometimes it's not always obvious. For example, if we have a target block and you want to know what pulse your shots give off, then the only way to find out is through F3 screens or counting yourself. Not exactly ideal. So instead, what if variable blocks like targets or daylight sensors gave a clear readout of their signal? Then we can ditch the guessing and just get to the building. Number 3. Dogs are a staple in a Minecraft world, or more specifically, this dog, since they all look the same. But what if it didn't have to be that way? After all, we've got plenty of different cat types to choose from, and sure, these are technically wolves, but those have breeds too. So if you ask me, some extra patterns for your pups would be a great change of pace. Number 4. Picture this. While looking for mending on your new pickaxe, you go to grab an enchanted book out of your chest, only to spend way too much time sifting through to find the right one. It's a definite pain, and one that we should avoid. So, how about instead, enchanted books had a distinct sprite or animation to differentiate between. That way, all it takes is a glance, and the choice is obvious. Number 5. Minecraft's mobs are iconic. There's no doubt about that. Whether that's their look, their behavior, or the sounds that they make, there's clearly a lot of work that goes into their designs. And while that's great, this could make it better. Because folks, when I saw this animated mob texture pack, I knew instantly that I wanted this in the game. I mean, this should be added for the Striders alone. The rest is just a bonus. Number 6. Nether wart is a pain to farm. I mean, there's no way to bone meal or pollinate it, so you're just stuck waiting for the thing to grow. And then, to make it worse, it's tough to tell the difference between the crop's middle and final stages. So, what if we just recolored the nether wart along its cycle? That way, we'd know when it's time to harvest, and then make the potion prep a lot less tedious. Number 7. Clearly, Minecraft has plenty of armor types to choose from, but while that's obvious in the inventory screen, in-game, not so much. So how about adding the ability to see which armor piece fills in which armor slot in the GUI? So if you're wearing a mix of diamond leggings and leather, you can see as much. And while it's not the most practical, it's a fun detail, and that works for me. Number 8. Sometimes it can be hard to tell Minecraft things apart, but in fairness, Mojang doesn't always make it the easiest. And I've definitely had my fair share of thinking a melon crop was a pumpkin stem, and vice versa. So why not take a page out of Vanilla Tweak's book and delineate between the two crops? And that way, we wouldn't have to wait for the block to grow before knowing which is which. Number 9. If you've ever put a banner on a shield, I'm sure you've recognized this pain. Because even though the pattern looks one way here, when you put it on the shield, the design gets cropped so it's pixel consistent. And honestly, that's just confusing. So why not make the designs the same that they are elsewhere? After all, if I'm spending a golden apple on a banner, I want to see that in all its glory, not just part of it. Number 10. Dyes are a funny thing in Minecraft, because sure, a chunk of them do have their own silhouette on top of the color, but others, not so much. And as you can see, if you're colorblind, this could be a big problem. So, to fix that and just make their sprites more interesting, why not follow suit and give them each their own unique shape, so we can finally ditch the circles and give us some variety. Number 11. Any builder will be quick to tell you that leaves and vegetation can liven up a build. But while that's true, unfortunately, there's a missed opportunity here. Take a look at the oak leaves next to the dark oak option. Very similar, right? And I think that's too bad, considering that new textures always mean new opportunities to innovate. So why not take the simple option and darken the leaves to differentiate the two? Number 12. Now, this change probably needs an asterisk, because while it would be great to have more variation in blocks like cobblestone, bricks, and the like, I do get that not everyone would go for this. Sometimes you just want the texture you expected, nothing else. So in that case, if this was a toggleable option, or something that the player could choose perhaps with a debug stick, I think that'd be best. Number 13. Maybe this is just me, but when I get into the groove mining blocks with a Haste 2 pickaxe, I can often lose myself in the flow, only to realize 1 second too late that my pickaxe broke. So for those like me, maybe having an indicator of the tool's durability in the sprite could be nice. That way you don't have to be laser focused in on the hotbar just to stay in the know. Number 14. This one's just annoying. You see, when you go to search stone bricks in the creative mode menu, you're treated to something like this. And unknowingly, you grab the first result, only to realize too late that it's infested with silverfish. So to stop this unpleasant surprise, Otherwise, why not add an indicator in the creative menu sprite to show that it's infested? Because I can guarantee you my first choice is not using silverfish in my next castle. Number 15. So I've aired my grievances on banner patterns before, but I think it's justified. After all, the whole point of these is that they're a visual medium, only to all look the same in a chest. That just doesn't make sense to me. So let's add some extra proof to each one and give them each their unique sprite. It might take some extra work, but the new look will be much appreciated. Number 16. Orientation could play a big part in Redstone. So if you place something like a hopper or an observer the wrong way, you're gonna have issues. But the sticking point there is that from certain angles, you can't tell which way it's facing. And if you ask me, that's an overcomplication. So maybe adding arrows or indicators to the sides of important redstone bits could save a lot of headaches going forward. Number 17. Copper is now a big deal for Minecraft building, and with that comes the need to wax your blocks as well. However, if you're doing a lot of that, you maybe notice the frustration of how similar the waxed and regular blocks look in the inventory. So for less confusion, why not give a subtle border or sheen to separate the sprites? And then you can still have the blocks look the same when they're placed. Number 18. Note blocks can open up a lot of creativity, but if you're not a musical maestro, then it could be tough to grasp. And I know I definitely fumble setting up the notes right. So to ease the load of memorizing both the instruments and the notes, why not just add some way to see the pitch onside the block? That way, recreating your favorite tunes gets all the easier, and I think that sounds great. Number 19. As you can see, Minecraft's textures have been through quite a few changes, but the biggest of which dates back to the texture update of 1.14, and that's why the programmer art option exists to let players play with the textures of old. But as any Minecraft veteran knows, there were plenty of textures before this from the retro era, so some way to play with those alpha options in-game would be pretty sweet. Number 20. Helmets are a staple in any armor set, so obviously you're crafting one of these for your noggin. But when you put it on, do you notice anything weird here? Or rather, do you notice a lack of something here? Because while the iron, gold, and diamond helmets have a nose piece when we wear them, the sprite doesn't match up. So why don't we separate these from the leather option and give them a more accurate look? Number 21. I'm a big fan of having more wood variants to use, and it seems like Mojang agrees, even going so far to give us different options for our boats. But what these have in color here, they lack in the inventory screen. More specifically, even though the ores when placed match the wood type, in the sprite, they're just the same as the oak type. So lining these up might be a nice fix. Number 22. Now, this has been an issue for some time, but have you ever noticed that while holding certain items in the game, you can find a seam of sorts stitching together the side? Well, that's because of how Minecraft's technique works for converting 2D textures into 3D models. And as you can tell, it's not the most thorough. So some form of stitch fix to these pixels would be quite nice. And as you can see with this example, it's clearly possible. Number 23. Now, I get it, soups and stews are not the most popular food items in the game, but even if some players neglect them, I still think it'd be worth fixing these particles. Because I for one think it's odd that Steve goes through the effort of biting chunks off the bowl just to drink the soup. So to help out our aesthetics and our manners, how about we remove the eating particles when drinking one of these soup items? Number 24. Sometimes when you notice something, it's gonna be tough to unnotice. So I apologize in advance, but you gotta know that shields do not line up in the center of an item frame. And I know, it bothers me too. And hopefully with this being reopened on the bug tracker, we might see some progress on this front. And then we could all rest easy knowing that the item renders in the center spot. Number 25. Sometimes Steve and Alex have a weird way of holding their items. Now, I'm not trying to judge, but it just feels off to hold the item like this instead of this. And since third-party packs have already found a way to fix the floating item fiasco, it might be worth getting this into the game. Because as much as I'd love to have telekinesis, it's a lot less cool when it's just for holding sprouts midair. Number 26. Minecraft's textures can have their fair share of inconsistencies, but the biggest culprit might just be the bottom texture. Because even though these stay mostly out of our sight, they don't exactly make sense when figuring the other sides. Luckily though, certain mockups exist to show just how the bottom textures could be fixed. So maybe instead of having another pumpkin stem on the bottom of the block, we could have something like this to make much more sense going forward. Number 27. Now, I'll admit, my eyes are bad, and my optometrist will tell you as much. But even with my lackluster eyesight, I don't think I'm the only one who has trouble telling whether this is an 8 or a 3. Truly, with low contrast backgrounds, the Minecraft font can be tough to read. So while it's not that big of a problem in the scheme of things, it might be worth a second opinion. Number 28. As you probably know, Minecraft's textures are 16 by 16 by default. And while that works, it does pose a problem for something like this. You see, the way that it is, the command block panel is doomed to be off-center. And while while we could fix this with 32 by 32 texture, it might make more sense to redesign the panel like so. That way we have 3 pixels on each side and our minds can be put at ease. Number 29. Not too long ago, Mojang gave us the choice for the fabulous graphics setting in the options menu. But when you turn it on, you might not notice much of a difference between this and fancy. So maybe we could go further with this option and allow for something big, like shaders. In-game shaders have already been teased before with the super secret settings, so letting us enable them in-game like this might be a nice option to see, and it gives Fabulous more of a reason for existing. Number 30. In recent years, colorblind options have become a mainstay in different options menus, and that's cool to see. I mean, it's always nice to have something more accessible. And while the changes to the ores in 1.17 is a big step in the right direction, I think it'd be great to see more colorblind options going forward. So whether that's making ancient debris different from netherrack, reshaping the dyes, or anything else, I'd love to see these changes. Number 31. Nowadays, when we get a new update, that comes with a new panoramic background on the title screen. And while those are nice, what if we could customize a bit? See, I think it'd be neat to have the chance to take a panoramic screenshot of our own worlds and then plug it into the title screen. After all, some resource packs already allow for this as is, so getting a base game just makes sense. And with that, folks, paint that red sub button gray and have a good one, alright?